And we're rolling on November 9th at UCLA, where it's a beautiful day. The sunshine is shining. And we're about to hear a personal commitment speech from Oriana.
Well, hi everyone, I'm Oriana.
Hi, Oriana.
So when it comes to exam season, there's two types of people. There's those that just want to get it over with and they want to go lie down, eat a bunch of junk food, watch Netflix, and sleep all day. And there's those people that want to go and drink and black out and just forget about all the stress and about studying. Today I'm going to talk to you about my personal commitment to getting rid of bad stress coping habits. And I will tell you the 2 reasons and 3 actions that I have taken towards this goal. I think this is very important to all of us as college students because we're in a huge place where there's a lot of stress and a lot of pressure from all these people that are here. They're doing all kinds of things and it's kind of easy to fall to having bad habits. And the first reason that I want to get rid of bad stress coping habits like procrastination or isolation or substance abuse, kinds of these things that all of us have done before, is because I don't want to get in trouble. So my freshman year, it was during final exams, fall quarter, and me and this guy that I barely knew were really stressed. We were kind of done studying, and we were like, why don't we just drink to get rid of our stress and just kind of not think about it for a while. So we did that. And we went for a walk, and then I tell him there's a police officer parking right by us, and he was so shook, he was so scared. He told me to hide, and I was like, why are we hiding? This is ridiculous. But he was really scared. He got me to be really scared. And then as the police officer started approaching us, he was like, just run. And he started taking off, and I was like, oh my god, what have I done? So I was forced to kind of run after him just because I wasn't going to be left alone. I was kind of scared, honestly, that because the police officer went after us, and I was kind of scared that things would get violent, so I kind of just kept going. And then I found out that he was really scared because he had got in trouble before for doing some things, and the consequences were going to be really bad for him. And I thought, why am I in this situation right now? This is not something that I would have done before. And then I knew it was unhealthy at that moment and that I should stop falling into habits like that. And then a second reason that I want to get rid of these habits is because I want to be more like how I was in high school with the way I dealt with stress. So I remember when it was time to apply for college and all that, I was really involved in school. I had a lot of leadership positions. Me and one of my friends, his name's Jonathan, we were really stressed at this point. And I remember one day he told me if I would be down to go for a run at 5 in the morning before school and then get breakfast after so we can have a good day and kind of get our mind off things. And I was like, yeah, sure. We ended up doing that a couple of times in the year, and I found that it really helped with the stress. It really kind of made the days much more easier and the stress of school much more manageable, and just the time management too. So this is one of the reasons that I think back and I'm like, I want to be like that person that I used to be. So I started doing 3 things. First of all, I started running here much more often than last year because I got really distracted, but there was really no time. And then I stopped drinking just for the sake of it because it was unhealthy. And then I started sleeping more because I found that while I was here at college, it was really, really hard to get a good night's sleep. And so I had to kind of manage my time and prioritize sleep so that I could have the energy throughout the day to get all my work done.
Sure.
So in summary, my 2 reasons for committing to removing bad stress coping habits were to not get in trouble and to kind of fall back into the healthy ways that I used to have before coming to college. And the 3 things that I did were to start running and to stop drinking and to sleep more. So in conclusion, there should be no doubt in this room that I am very committed to removing all these bad stress habits and committing to new healthy ones. And to come back to the first thing that I said in the introduction, next time we are faced with stressful situations here at school and we have the option to kind of black out and drink, or to just be unhealthy and lie around and sleep all day, consider a healthier alternative to that won't affect you so much in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, we started with you before?
Hi, my name is Brianna.
Hi, Brianna.
I really liked your speech, like your stories kept me kind of on edge. I was like, wait, what is she about to, like, it was like really interesting, you know, because like I was like, what's gonna happen, you know? But yeah. Thank you.
Improvement.
Hello, my name is Roberto.
What's your name?
Roberto.
Hi, Roberto.
I came kind of late, so I saw half of it, but overall I thought it was pretty well.
Pretty well. Okay. Oriana, yes. Well, let's start at the very beginning. It was a good speech in a way. Your stories were compelling. One of them I liked. What happened when you ran from the place? Did they catch you? Did they arrest you? Or did they just warn you? Did they tackle you? What happened?
Nothing.
Oh,
They
nothing.
didn't catch me.
They what?
They didn't catch me.
Oh, you ran away and got away. Oh. And your friend did too. So I guess they figured it wasn't worth chasing you, huh? I never heard of people getting away from the police. Usually they bring out the dogs and the spotlights and the OK Corral. Okay, good. Well, okay, so you got away. Good. Good for you. Speaking of police, a member of our class was in the news for the police. Did you see that? Although he hasn't been attending much, he managed to make the police blotter in China.
Is he still in this class?
He transferred to another class?
That was my understanding.
Oh, he's still enrolled, but... He was here, yeah. Well, anyway, he's... So we all have our problems, don't we, Oriana? Okay. Yeah, fascinating, yeah. Okay. Did that make the Bruin, by the way?
It was in David Blaine.
Oh, good, yeah. Let me talk about your speech quickly, Oriana. You started with there's two kinds of people in the world when it comes to midterms, and you tied back to that, so that was cute, and you understood the concept of the tie back. So relax your hands, let them just be by your side. Your thesis was fine, your preview was okay, your significant statement was good, so that worked. I liked your first story. I didn't quite get the, was it that you were hanging with bad people, or you had bad habits, or you were drinking too much? I guess I wish you would crystallize at the end just exactly what it was that you were, maybe all of those things. Huh? Yeah. On the second thing, you talked about the good habits that you had for a while with Jonathan Livingston Seagull, where you ran every morning and at 5 a.m. and that was positive, and you wanted to get back into that. And you told us that you run at UCLA. You have stopped drinking. Good for you. And you are sleeping. And that's a very good thing. You do better, you remember more, you are more efficient, and it's just better. you'll do better in school if you sleep more regularly and you have regular hours. So, unfortunately, you skipped the fourth point, which was, and here's how I feel when I take these steps. I feel good, I feel better, I'm feeling like I'm making some progress. Don't skip your fourth point, folks. Circle it on your outline. You know, remember it in your mind. People are really skipping it a lot. Your summary was good. Your conclusion was good. And your tieback, as I said, was good. Your connive. Walk with purpose. Don't speed up. And don't skip part. How to go and what was the time?
It was 5:01.
5:01. Well, it doesn't get any better than that, does it?
I did skip a part.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of...
Yeah.
I tried.
Okay. Good. I would practice walking when you rehearse your speech. You didn't walk wide enough to the left or to the right or to the left. And when you watch yourself tonight on YouTube, you will see that you were kind of skittering a little bit about and not really coming back to center and staying there, really standing and delivering. I would have liked a little bit more personal stuff shared with the group, but it was a good speech. You got it done. Thank you. Okay, that'll bring us to... is Matthew in the house?
I literally just said don't pick me, but I'll do it.
Oh, thank you.
Alright. Okay. Here is my
Cody
outline.
James, who's that?
It's a brand.
Oh, Brand. He's
Yeah.
a brand. Okay,
Yes,
good.
he is. Okay.
Thought maybe he was an outlaw.
Could be.
Okay.
Alright.
Oh, you're taller. There we go. Okay, Cody, rock and roll.
Alright, well hello, I'm not Cody, I'm Matthew.
Hi, Matthew, Cody.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. So, when a man has no ideas of his own, he ought to be careful who he borrows his ideas from. And now that is a quote from one of my favorite books growing up. It's called The Virginian. And I thought that this highlighted a very important issue that we face today as a society, in the fact that everybody is telling us what we have to be, what we should wear, how we should look beautiful, how we should be smart. And this leads me into what I am personally committed to. I am personally committed to being independent of what society tells us to do, in lieu of doing what I want to do and what I feel to be right. So, I am going to tell you 2 stories that led me to coming to this conclusion, and then 3 different practical ways that I have applied this to my life. So, my first story came when I visited my old middle school, and I'm sure many of you have done this before. You find your teachers and you see the one teacher who you were kind of disrespectful to, and you're like, oh goodness, I hope he doesn't remember all those times I was just bad in his class. And so I was like, hey, I hope you don't remember those times. And he said to me, he was like, you know what, Matthew? The one thing I remember about you is that for some reason your class decided one day that they weren't going to talk to the teacher over probably some really stupid issue. You know how middle schoolers are and how we were in those days. So, and then they told us, and the word spread through the class, they were like, you're not going to say a word when the teacher enters the room. And I was like, okay, I'm not upset with the teacher. I don't know why you're doing this. So the teacher walked into the room, and this is something typical I would do. So they're like, the teacher was like, I see you're not talking to me today. And I'm like, I'm not. So, and then everybody looked at me and kind of just groaned because they were used to me doing things like that. And I realized to myself that from a young age I've always done what I've thought to be best, regardless of what other people say or think. Okay. So my second point is I did not realize how harmful negative stereotypes were until I talked to my cousin about 3 years ago. Now, she's a little younger than me, and she's always been a very insecure sort of person. So I would always try and call her and help her out, you know, try to help her get over her insecurities. And she finally confided in me one day that the source of her insecurities was all of the different social media, television, and all of these representations of what, you know, women were supposed to be. Women were supposed to be, you know, beautiful, thin, or whatever. And she was always telling me, oh, I want to get a nose job, or different things like that. I'm like, no, you're beautiful just who you are. You don't have to look like those people on the television. I felt really bad for her, because there was really nothing I could do about it, and it was just something she would have to get over in her own time. And then I decided to myself, I was like, you know, I really need to watch out for these dangerous stereotypes that people are forcing on us, because it's really harmful and it really affects people. And my cousin, to this day, is still very insecure. She has all of these problems because of these issues. Now I'm going to tell you 3 different ways that I have tried to apply this to my life. First of all, I'm very purposeful in the types of media and films and different things like that I watch. Because with all of this stuff being forced on us, I want to make sure that I'm not, you know, being subconsciously influenced by some of these negative stereotypes. So I always look up, like, online what type of movie this is going to be, you know, whether it's, like, it's a good movie or not, and it's got, like, decent sort of motives involved in the movie. And this may not work for everybody, but I don't have any social media whatsoever. I'm the only one, and that's fine, whatever. You know, that's not practical for most people, but it works for me. Second of all, when I go to these films and movies, I try to identify what they're trying to tell me in the film. So I'm not very fun to go to movies with, because some of the times I'll be like, oh, well, they're trying to tell you this and this and this, and they're like, it's just a movie. So if you want to go to a movie, probably don't go with me. And lastly, I've always been that guy who's just unaware of what's going on in, like, pop culture and stuff. And, like, as a kid, you know, I'd get, like, hit for that. Like, you know, people are like, oh, Matthew doesn't know this, Matthew doesn't know that. And then I realized, I was like, well, that's just who I am. I mean, I have my own things I'm interested in. I have my own music I listen to, you know, different things like that. And I was like, that's fine. I mean, I'm not saying being interested in pop culture is a bad thing. It just works for me that I'm not. So it gives me, like, it allows me to be unique, I guess. I don't know. So, and fourthly, this causes me to feel liberated. It's really nice when I see that, like, I'm not influenced by these things. I can do whatever I want to. I don't have to worry about what people are going to think about me. So, in summary, I told you about the 2 stories, one at my middle school, one with my cousin. Why I ended up thinking like this. I gave you 3 concrete reasons that I do. I make sure to screen the types of things that I allow into my life. I identify these values that they push to us in these films, and I'm pretty blissfully unaware of, like, pop culture. So, and it causes me to feel liberated. In conclusion, there should be no doubt that I try to remain independent of all of the different things that are being pushed on us. And to tie back, like my earlier quote said, when you don't have any ideas of your own, you really need to be careful about the types of things that you are allowing into your life. So there's all sorts of just garbage, to be honest, that's being pushed to us on a day-to-day basis. And I had forgotten to mention earlier, I had thrown in about Dr. Waschler. He said that the battle is lost in our minds, essentially. So when we allow ourselves to be interested in these things, then we might even lose the battle before we even start. So, thank you, and that's it.
Thank you very much. Would you mind turning on the middle light? You're a little hazy. That's the white one.
The white one?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right.
What'd you like about Matthew Cody James' presentation? Hi, Laura.
I really like the way you speak in terms of it's like a perfect rate for, like, me to understand, and your voice is really clear too when you speak.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm Iris.
Hi, Iris. Real loud, Iris.
I realized it was really good, but sometimes you sway a little bit.
All right.
I think we just watched that a little.
Okay, thanks.
Good, Iris. It's more apparent since you're so tall, Matthew. But it was a good speech. I like the quote from the Virginian. And yeah, I don't want to sound like an old fart, but I was always very concerned when I heard lyrics like "Shut up, bitch," "Shut up, hoe," coming into people's ears, I thought that can't be so good for people's self-worth and a woman's self-worth, and calling a woman a hoe, right? You know, so. Oh, it's just, and when I said that to one student who had that on his earbuds, he said, "Oh, those are just words." Okay, well, we can't talk any further. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about your speech quickly. I want to get through all of them today. You had a little bit of a long introduction, but you did have a good introduction that's had a nice segue to your thesis, which had 2 stories, and you told us you were going to give us your actions that you took. The significant statement was well done. I like the tie back to Ucla in the end, Dr. Brian Boxer Ucla. Appreciate you coming, by the way. On the first story, you reminded me of a story when the students can be very cruel. In junior high, we had a typing teacher, maybe, who said who had very bad acne on his face, very bad acne, and the students decided they all got together and decided they would chant quietly from different places in the room, "You need planing surgery," to be cruel. And I said, no, I'm not going to do this. This is really wrong. I tried to talk them out of this, and they thought I was the biggest a-hole in the world for not going along with it. But a few of them did it, and it was very sad because he had like little tears coming down his eyes because it was a very cruel thing to do. But I'm glad you stood up that way. It's hard to stand up to a crowd, but it's often satisfying in the end. On your second story, on your, I think that the stereotypes in the media, they're there, and you just have to watch out for them. And I'm sad that your cousin doesn't fit it, and but we all fight with it because it's very pervasive. It's very pervasive. It's not just movies, it's magazines, it's television, it's everywhere. It's on billboards. Your actions could have been a little bit more succinct, but the first one was fine. I hope you don't speak about the movies during the movies, but afterward. That would be very boring. And, and your third one was interesting, too. Thank you for having how you feel when you take these actions. You reestablished an emotional connection with your audience and made your speech more sticky, that's more memorable, which is what we're after. Your summary was detailed and good, conclusion good, and the tie back was excellent. And although you didn't mention the Virginian, you mentioned Dr. Boxer Ucla, which it was good. Your cannots: walk more naturally, be more organized, use appropriate transitions. How did it go, sir?
Well, I think I walked more naturally this time.
Yeah.
I wasn't the last time I would just go straight and then go there and then come back. So
Yeah.
This time I tried to walk at a normal pace.
Okay, good.
I think I was more organized. I didn't lose track of my points like last time either. And
Okay, good.
my third point was
Appropriate transition.
appropriate transitions. I made it a point to use transitions between my paragraphs. So
Especially on your intro, that was good. I would say just when you watch yourself tonight walk, just take a little bit more of a chill pill. Just slow down a little bit more. You're still.
That's how I walk in day-to-day
In
life.
life,
So when I walk with people,
you
I'm
got a
always,
place.
here
It's like you
and
got a
there.
place. I'm going there.
Yeah,
I'm going there.
Yeah,
Okay.
so.
Nice job, Matthew. Thank you. Time.
5:32.
Okay. Let's hear from Samuel. First Samuel. First Samuel. Samuel. On deck, Olivia Newton-John.
She's not in this class.
Oh, she's not? Oh, good. She transferred. Okay, good. And then on deck, Tina.
I'm in this class.
Oh, sorry. I scratched you out, I believe. You are very persuasive. Okay. Can you take a half step forward, please? Yeah, perfect. Okay. Samuel, since for your managing attention. Your phone? Right. Put it away. Oh my God. And she's managing attention, communicating respect, finding friendly eyes in the front and the center. Say your name, feel the love, start your speech.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam.
Hi, Sam!
So I'd like to start today by posing a question. Who here, other than Matthew, uses some form of social media? As I suspected, pretty much everyone. Now, social media provides us an incredible tool to stay in contact with people that we might have moved away from, or live far away from, or just don't see that often. But I feel that social media has actually provided a way for me to be more passive about my friendships and not actively maintain the relationships that I value. So today I'm going to share with you my personal commitment to maintaining the relationships that are super important to me, that I've kind of become passive about. Many of us might have moved at some point. We might have gone to camp or gone on vacation for a while and met some really fantastic people. But I'm willing to bet that a lot of us have also kind of drifted away from some of those people to the point where nothing's really left from that friendship except fond memories. For me, I've definitely moved a lot, and I've seen my network of friends dissolve over the past few years. So today, in giving this speech, I'm hoping to reaffirm my commitment to myself that I want to continue to actively pursue and maintain these relationships, and I'm hoping that some of you might be inspired to pick up the phone and give a friend you haven't talked to in weeks, months, or even years a call. So first, my first story tells you why I feel that this is important. So, a couple years ago, I went to camp. And I went to camp to backpack. It was kind of one of those outdoor adventure camps. And I met some of my greatest friends ever on that trip. It was filled with incredible mental and physical hardships. One story that sticks out to me in particular is the 5th day in. We were scaling a mountain pass, and I slid down a bed of shale about 50 feet at a 45-degree angle. And before the guides could even come get me, it was one of the other kids who came down and got me. It was one of my friends who helped me through that. And I created some of the most incredible friendships through that trip. But a few months ago, I was thinking about it. I was reflecting, looking at photos, and I realized I don't talk to anyone from that trip anymore. So I took a leap of faith, and I reached out. And that same guy who came down and helped me up after I fell on the 5th day was incredibly excited to talk to me, and we actually got a few people together for a reunion, even a few years after the trip. So that story tells you about why I think it's important to do this. But I have another that really stresses the importance. It's a lot more somber. So my freshman year, I had a really close friend. She came from New Zealand, and she was living with her cousin. Her cousin was also a close friend of mine, and our whole friend group kind of surrounded to support her. She came from an abusive family, and that's why she came to the U.S., and she struggled with some serious mental health issues. But we all really, I believe, played a big part in getting her through that. When it came time for summer, she did have to return to New Zealand for the summer because my cousin's family couldn't, or her cousin's family couldn't afford to support her. So she went back, and being freshmen, we all thought, oh, we'll see her in a few months. Unfortunately, we stopped talking to her, and a couple months in, she took her own life. I understand that it wasn't my fault at all, but at the same time, you can't help but wonder what would have happened. So, now I'd like to share with you 3 actions that I've taken to maintain these relationships. First, I reach out to a new person every week or two. Someone from my past who I used to be close friends with, but I don't talk to anymore. Second, I make sure that these people I'm reaching out to, I don't only reach out to them once. I try to, maintain a snap streak with them, talk to them every once in a while. FaceTime once a week. With my parents, it's talk to them twice a week because they're super important to me, of course. And third, I've deleted social media that I've found just really doesn't help me to maintain those kind of relationships that I want. The biggest culprit was Instagram. This feels like I'm just kind of looking through a very cultivated, curated lens. So, after taking these actions, I feel a lot more fulfilled. Right? I have this network of friends that I love and that I really cherish. So, in summary, I've told you about two stories that have shown me why it's very important to maintain old friendships, and I've given you 3 actions that I've taken to maintain those old friendships. There should be no doubt in this room that maintaining personal relationships is incredibly important to me. So, going back to what I said in the beginning, I'd like to pose a different question to close. How many of you feel that through social media you're able to maintain friendships the way that you want to? Thank you.
Thank you. What did you like about Samuel's speech? What was the time?
5:46.
5:46. Ouch. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes, that's me. Okay. I'm Matthew.
Hi, Matthew.
I liked your speech. I liked how you used audience analysis. That's something we don't talk about much, but you tailored your speech to the audience, like you knew that we'd all kind of be able to relate to your stories, and you used the stories that we'd be able to relate to emphasize your points. So I like that.
Thanks.
And you talk very, very laid back too. So like, while you kind of talk a little more monotone, but you do it in a way where it just like it's very laid back and it's good. Like, yeah. There you go.
Improvement.
Hi, I'm Oriana.
Hi, Oriana.
I love your speech. Like, I really loved it. It's just that I think you like the way you talk. Like, it is really laid back, and I like it a lot. But it can like drag on the speech for like a little too long sometimes. So that's the only thing. But other than that, I like really liked it.
Samuel, let's talk to that for a moment. Some vocal variety wouldn't hurt. I know you were in a somber mood talking about the passing of a friend, and that was sad. And but some vocal variety in talking about this would have made the speech a little more lively and interesting to listen to. I too liked your audience analysis in your opening and closing and sharing. It's always good to do audience analysis. I don't know if you're at Dr. Wackler's presentation, but we drove that home on the debating team. We had dossiers on the judges, so we knew everything about them, so we could adapt to them and speak to them where they live and adapt to them and give the kind of arguments they like to hear. So It's a very good thing. I think that your message was a good one of reaching out to old friends and not through the traditional, although ironically Facebook was being, for example, such a powerful medium and so ever widespread may allow you to find some people way out there that you may have lost contact with. Yes, that's sort of the double-edged sword of it, the irony of it, isn't it? Yeah. Your significant statement was a little too long, and I felt you were going to go over time, and I would have cut that way down. Your story of the person that saved you when you slid down the 45-degree angle was good. Give him a name so the story comes alive. Tell us where the reunion occurred. Just some more details so the story comes alive. The New Zealand story was good. I just would have added I was very sad when I heard that Sarah took her own life. You don't have to use her real name, but give her a name so she, whatever. Your actions were all consistent with your PC. You had a feeling state, but it looked like an add-on to me. It was a little short. It was kind of like, oh, you better do that. Mm-hmm. And you better do more of that to do that felt sensing and get more of an emotional connection so that it's stronger. Summary, conclusion, and tie back. We're all fine. Watch your time.
Yeah.
Canonize. Move with purpose. Calm the hands. Speak more formally. How'd it go?
Speak more formally didn't really happen, but I think my hands were calmer. I think
Good.
Because last time.
Good to have
kind of
calm hands. Yeah.
and I think I moved with a little more purpose this time than I did.
Yes,
in the past.
you did. I would just say, I don't make your hands so calm that they don't move at all. But
Yeah.
It's good not to be crazy. Thank you so much, Daniel. Okay, next we'll hear from. Oh, you're volunteering?
You said I was on deck.
I said you were on deck? Oh, I did? Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, okay, good. You're Olivia?
I'm Tina.
Oh, Talking Tina. Oh, I said Olivia was next. Okay, Talking Tina, let's do it.
Hi.
I love happiness you can taste. I do too, Tina. That's a great sweatshirt. Where'd you get it?
At Lollipop, the Bobo place.
Oh, the Bobo place. Sounds good. There must be a Bobo place on campus?
It's in Westwood.
Oh, Westwood, yeah. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm Tina.
Hi, Tina. Let me check this guy's got his phone.
We have often heard the phrase, dance like there's no one watching. In a broader sense, this is perhaps meant to inspire us to live without seeking the approval of others, or just to be confident no matter what. For me, I wanted to apply this to my life both literally and figuratively. However, I realized that I lacked this kind of confidence this quote was meant to inspire because I didn't like my body image and I felt like my movements were often very awkward and cringy. So today I wanted to share with everyone my personal commitment to becoming a better dancer. I will give you 2 reasons why I'm personally committed to becoming a better dancer and 3 ways that I show my personal commitment to becoming a better dancer. I think this is really important because it's an important part of who I am, but I think a lot of people can relate because everyone's trying to find how to be comfortable in who they are. So the first reason I'm personally committed to becoming a better dancer is because it gives me a sense of confidence. I remember the first time attending this dance party and I didn't know how to dance and I felt very awkward and out of place. And I remember just wishing that I could look different. So I decided to go home and basically like teach myself how to dance by watching YouTube videos and tutorials. As I began to realize how my body moved, I began to gain more confidence in how I looked in front of other people. This made me feel really excited because not only was I gaining a new skill, I was learning how to be confident in who I am. So the second reason I'm personally committed to becoming a better dancer is because it is a fun way for me to exercise and also express myself. So during junior year in high school, I decided to join a dance team, and that was a very good decision on my part. And through the dance team and the practices, I was able to kind of like fall in love with dance. As I began to practice more, I began to really connect with the music and be able to share my story through my facial expressions and my movements. And this made me feel empowered because not only was I able to turn my weakness into a strength, I was able to find something that I really love doing. So third, I wanted to share with everyone 3 ways that I live out my personal commitment to becoming a better dancer. So the first way is that I've decided to join a dance team at UCLA, and I'm on foundations, which is like more for beginners. And I practice around like 13 hours a week, even though the actual practices are only about 7 hours. I put in the extra 6 hours because of my personal commitment to dance, and I want to improve. So the second way I show I'm personally committed to dance is I have decided to choreograph my own piece, and that was a really big step for me because I've never done anything like that before. But it has taken a lot of time, and I've often wanted to give up, but I think it was worth it because I've created a piece that I really liked and enjoy doing. So the third way I show I'm personally committed to dance, becoming a better dancer, is just dancing whenever I can and just not being afraid to be like goofy in front of other people. And in summary, I have shown you why I am personally committed to becoming a better dancer, and 2 reasons why, and 3 ways that I have accomplished this. There should be no doubt in this room that I am personally committed to becoming a better dancer. And even though I can't really say I can dance like there's no one watching, I definitely care less if people are watching. Thank you.
Good. Very nice, Tina. What would you like? Time.
428.
428. Thank you.
I'm Justin.
Hi, Justin.
I like your 3 examples of how you were carrying out your personal commitment. I thought that they were honest, that you didn't think that you always met them, but that you kept going.
Improvement.
I'm Kyler.
Hi, Kyler.
I think you were steepling a little with your hands, and then you forgot the 4th part. So, yeah, that was just.
Thank you, Kyler, for noticing those 2 things, yes. When you watch yourself tonight on YouTube, you will see you were doing this and playing with your fingers, pinching your fingers in reassurance. So just let them be by your side. Don't go crazy and hold them stiff, but just be natural, let them go up and down. Well, let's talk about the substance of your speech, which was really honest and really good. And I loved your quote, dance like there's nobody watching. Hard thing to do. Goes for any performance, really, you know. But especially dancing, because, you know, people are going, oh, look at her, and you don't want people to laugh, right? So, and you were very honest, and you said that you felt that the way you originally danced was sort of goofy and cringy and spastic or whatever. I don't know what words you used, but it was awkward and not what you wanted. So that was good. I love the honesty of that. So your opening was compelling, got my attention. Thesis preview, good. Sig statement wasn't just for you, but for them. So you did it right. Your first reason, your dance party where you taught yourself through YouTube videos was excellent, and you decided to take the problem and solve it. Amazing what you can do with YouTube videos, yes. And secondly, you talked about the idea of connecting with the music, and I like that because I felt you talked about the idea. It's not just moving, but you know, really getting the feeling for the emotion that many of the artists that are, you know, playing the music, they're speaking not speaking, but communicating in a language, an emotional language that, you know, is different than words. On your 3 actions, I like the idea that you practice double the time that the foundation requires. I like the fact that you have choreographed your own piece. It shows you're being creative. And I like the idea that you're just having the courage to let loose. I didn't like the fact that you skipped the how you feel about that, especially since I made such a big deal of it. I wish you had written it in, thought about it, and just stuck it in, because you didn't even have it here. And you know, that's one of the things I have it there because we want to have that emotional connection back to be sticky. Summary conclusion, tie back, we're all fine. Can I speak clearly, speak confidently, move less awkwardly? How'd it go?
I thought I spoke like pretty clearly, but it could have been better. And then I feel like I didn't move far enough for the walking part.
Right, that's true. And if you want to get technical about it, you didn't come exactly back to the center of the real center of the room, but you're moving better, so practice moving and you'll be great. Thank you. Tina. Olivia Newton-John, okay. On deck, Natalie Woods. Let me check this guy. Excellent. Good man. Thank you. Look over here. Oh, look at this guy texting. What are you doing? What can be more important than this class? Come on. Killing me. Okay. Rock and roll, Olivia.
Go. Hi.
Hi, my name is Olivia.
Hi, Olivia.
It's not trailblazing to write the world as it is. These are words from a speech by Shonda Rhimes, the TV showrunner, as she was accepting the Norman Lear Award from the Producers Guild for Achievement in Producing. Shonda Rhimes, if you don't know who she is, she's produced and created shows such as Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, and How to Get Away with Murder. And the reason these shows are significant is because they have really diverse casts in terms of race, gender, and other individual identities. The fact of the matter is that Hollywood is not diverse, and thus these shows are in fact trailblazing. This is best illustrated by the 2017 Hollywood Diversity Report that actually came out of UCLA. In the report, it's a long report, but in one portion they compare the percentage of different identities in the overall U.S. population with the percentage of leads in films and television shows. They found that in the general population, the population is over 50% women, but female representation is around 29% in Hollywood. And minorities in the U.S. population make up 40%, whereas in television and film, they make up 13.6%. So you can see there's a huge disparity, and it's a huge problem that's really pervasive in the industry. As a result, I am personally committed to being an advocate and activist for diversity in film and television. Today I will share with you 2 reasons why I feel strongly about this, and 3 actions that I'm taking to concretely try and influence this. You may be thinking, why does this matter? There's way more pressing issues in the world. And that's not wrong. This isn't an issue of life or death, obviously. But the way in which people are represented on television has a direct impact on the culture that we live in and the perceptions of these groups. There was a study done by the Indiana University and the University of Illinois in which they surveyed black and white boys and girls. They surveyed their self-esteem before and after watching television. And what they found was that every group except for white boys experienced a decrease in self-esteem after watching television. And I think that's really telling in terms of the impact that television can have. And movies, obviously. So the first reason that I'm personally committed to this is the fact that I feel that many people are not aware of this issue, especially the next generation of aspiring filmmakers. I went to film school for high school, and one thing that I noticed was in one of my classes we were having a discussion about Oscars So White, which was the campaign that emerged around the Oscars, critiquing the fact that there were very few nominees of color. I was really interested in getting to the bottom of the issue and discussing why this is a pervasive issue and what actions we can take to solve it. But my teacher and a lot of the people in my class were more interested in discussing whether or not diversity is even an issue or a thing that we should be concerned with. And I felt incredibly frustrated by this because I know that it's an issue and I'm well versed in this issue because I study it a lot. But they were unaware, and these are the people that are hoping to be the next generation of Steven Spielberg's, Catherine Bigelow's, Patty Jenkins. And so I felt it was really important to be an activist for this, to educate people who aren't aware of this issue. My other reason for being really committed to this is I know how empowering it is to see characters who look like yourself on a screen, and I believe that everyone should have that feeling. I went to see Wonder Woman when it first came out, and I remember walking out of the theater in total awe, just, speechless, crying, everything, because it was so powerful to see a female character that I identified with. And I realized that this shouldn't be an anomalous occasion. I should be able to feel like this on a regular basis. Why don't I feel like this on a regular basis? Because of the limited representation in Hollywood. So for that reason, I wanted those feelings to be universal so that everybody in this room, if you have it, can experience that, can see that in Hollywood on film and television. So the 3 actions that I'm taking to try and achieve this, obviously it's a really nebulous issue, and I'm not, a major Hollywood executive, so what can I really do? Well, 1, I write for the Daily Bruin in the Arts and Entertainment section. So what I try to do in my articles is I write articles about issues pertaining to diversity, whether that's editorials that unpack different issues, or just highlighting different filmmakers and films that feature people of color and women. The second action that I take is, as a filmmaker myself, I try and make sure that I tell stories about people of color and women. Because when I was in film school, I noticed that a lot of my peers did not do that, and I thought, if not them, then who? So I took that upon myself. And the third thing that I do is something that I think everyone can do, and that's going to support films about women and people of color, and made by women and people of color. I went to see Wonder Woman 5 times in theaters. I paid for a ticket every time because Hollywood listens to what you do with your money. And so that's one way that you as an individual can really influence what's happening with regards to this issue. And all of these actions make me feel really empowered and satisfied because it is such a huge issue that it's really easy to feel overwhelmed and feel like you can't do anything. But the fact of the matter is that there are ways that you can act, and so these are some of the actions that I've taken to kind of work on that from my end.
Good.
So in conclusion, I've talked to you guys about my personal commitment to diversity in Hollywood in film and television. I've shared with you 2 reasons why I feel so strongly about this, and 3 actions that I've taken in order to try and approach this issue. There should be no doubt in this room that not only am I personally committed to this issue, but that it is an issue to begin with, and there's still so much work to do. So Shonda Rhimes is partially right. Her shows shouldn't be trailblazing because it should be totally normal to see television shows about awesome Latina surgeons and badass black female lawyers. But until that day arrives when that's dime a dozen and there's plenty of options for that representation, it will be trailblazing and it will be something that we have to fight for. Thank you.
Thank you. What'd you like about Olivia's speech? What was the time?
It was 5:50.
50.
Hi, I'm Tess.
Hi, Tess.
I really liked your speech. I thought it was super informative and it was really good vocabulary. And I like the fact that you used statistics because it helped me establish your
Improvement.
Hi, I'm Harnor.
Hi, Harnor.
I really liked your speech. I agree with Tess that it was very informative and it was a very kind of new topic for this assignment. I think that you play with your hands a lot, and sometimes I think when you're recalling points, you don't make eye contact.
Good. Those are good points, Harnor. Yeah, and if you could have, I think, I liked your speech, by the way, a lot. And I hope you don't, I hope you don't burn out doing this, because it's a hard task you've taken on, and it's going to seem at times like you're pushing a rock up a hill. But and I tried doing some of this stuff too, and it's, God, it's pretty, people are pretty resistant. It's pretty tough work. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Where you could have cut down is just referred to the statistics and compressed them a bit, and just referred to the Hunt study and to the other study, and just got it down and just said, they're just not represented, and we know it. I love that. I know Norman Lear. I tried to produce a debate show for prime time with him. He really is committed to this, and tried to do it. We just couldn't make it entertaining enough, But he's really committed to bringing topical things to the world, as he did in his whole career. And so I'm glad that Shonda Rhimes got the Norman Lear Award. I didn't know she received it. The thesis was fine. The SIG statement was honest. It was a hard sell for this group. Yeah, right, Olivia. Am I really going to lose sleep over this? And you were honest to acknowledge that, and I appreciate that, and I think that was part of its power. And that was good. You told the first story in film school of your classmate and teachers going, huh? Yeah, right. And that must have been frustrating. You shared with us your awe over Wonder Woman and seeing it 5 times. That was great, and I could feel your enthusiasm and passion for that. That was good. your actions were all consistent with your PC. I think you could have, that's where you could have, made them a little shorter, a little less wordy. But thank you for, by the way, saying how you feel after you take the actions. That got you points. I'm sorry you went so much overtime. And your summary, conclusion, and tieback were great. Tonight, try not to look at the ceiling. More natural hand motion and get to the conclusion and tieback. How'd it go?
Well, I did the third one even though I went overtime.
Yeah.
I think I was looking at the ceiling. Probably.
Yeah.
What was the second one? Oh, more natural. I felt more natural a little bit, but
Yeah.
it might have been.
Do you practice with a live person?
I do not.
Yeah, you should. And do we need to do a little quick eye contact drill with you today? Okay, let's go over here. Come over here, yeah. And I'll tap when it's 5 seconds. Come a little closer. Yeah. And let me zoom in on your eyes. Yeah. Good. Okay, tell us about your morning.
Okay, so my morning, I woke up, I was really happy because last night I had a fever, and I didn't have a fever this morning, so that was thrilling. And then, so I had to get up at 7 a.m. because I have an 8 a.m. class, so that was not so fun. Then I went and got breakfast from Rendezvous, and Rendezvous is great because they do breakfast sandwiches on English muffins, and they're really yummy. And then I just got it, and then I got some drinks from BCAF because I have 19P, so I have lots of extra swipes. So then...
Oh, extra swipes. No, you're my friend. Okay, one more.
Oh, yeah. So I got a Pike's green tea, or no, not green tea, peach tea, and a water bottle, and I'm going to be on campus until 5 p.m. tonight, so it's going to be great.
Okay. Did you feel the difference?
I did.
Yeah. And that's what you're looking for, and try to get that longer eye contact, and if you can get a live person to practice with you and hold their hands out like this, and this is one person, this is one person, this is another person, you'll be more effective. Thank you very much, Olivia. Okay, and next, who did I say is next? Okay, yeah. Natalie Wood. And on deck, Kyler.
I always forget. Down or top? Down, so you start 5.
I just go with
4. Like you
start
count
with
it.
start 4 through 10.
All right, thank
And then I'll
you.
give you 5.
At the end.
So when it's 5, I'll say.
Gotcha.
Okay, rock and roll, rock and roll. We got a lot to do today. Just a second. Can you do me a favor? Watch that green thing. If it turns red, freak out. I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose today's tape. It's green, but if it turns red, it will go dead in a minute. It goes dead in 30 seconds. Okay. Okay, good. Okay.
Hi, I'm Natalie.
Hi, Natalie.
Renowned pop star Katy Perry once said, "If you're presenting yourself with confidence, you can pull off pretty much anything." Now, I know this statement is simple and it seems ordinary, but this is very true. If you think about it in analogy form, we can change our clothes when it gets hot outside to protect ourselves from hot weather, and we can put on a coat when it gets really cold outside, but confidence is a universal accessory that we all need to wear in our
Okay, you
daily
gotta
lives.
stop.